We are just about a minute early for the 9 o'clock scheduled stream of part 3 of the Nick Show.
It's pretty much
is what I would call it.
It absolutely was, was, and always will be the Nick Show.
Man, so pre-Thanksgiving, I was going to leave, go back to Minnesota. Hi, monkey. So we streamed a few cash games just to have in the can, ready to go. And this one is a 4-hour stream. We did 1 hour when we got back, and then a couple weeks later, we did another hour. But that one, I put into Camtasia, and I cropped out all of the shuffling so that there's no downtime. It goes right from hand to hand to hand. And forgot about it. So we streamed that one after the next gen about 2 weeks ago. And Nick calls me today, and he says, "Hey, brother, you ever going to broadcast that last that last part of the stream?" And I went, "Yeah, yes, I am." So today is Katie's game. 179 entries for Katie's game.
It's
crazy.
It's now turned into a midweek classic now.
So great. So we have, it started out when I got here in August, a 2K guarantee. Then they moved it immediately to a 3K guarantee. Mm-hmm. And then last month they said, "Do you think we can do 4K?" Yeah, we can do 4K. Then 5K. Yesterday they said, "Let's make it 8K. Think we should be worried about 8K?" I said, "No, we're not worried about 8K. I said, "Let's make it 10K. They go, "No, let's stick with 8K. Well, so we're to 8K guarantee. We got $14,000 in the prize pool.
And the funny part of it is that is the 5th consecutive week of over 150 entries.
Yeah, like 171, 182, 100. And last week was a little light right before, right between Christmas and New Year's.
But we still had 140 entries.
It dipped down to 140.
Because, a few people, they wanted to spend the holidays with their families. So
yeah.
Literally only a few.
So then after I talked to Nick, I came in here. We had a lot of time. We have 46 players left in the tournament right now, so we're not going to get there for a couple of hours. Come on in. I'll bet you it's Amber with my coffee and your water.
And my water.
What are the odds she brought you a water? I'll say yes. Is she here?
Is she here?
I thought somebody knocked. You know what it was? Benny playing jokes on us, walking by.
That sounds about right.
So, poker didn't get points. I haven't given out points yet.
Yeah, that's another thing I probably needed to be in, because a lot of people asked me in the last stream I did,
"Give me points."
Give me points.
You go, "That's new. I don't know. How do I do that?"
I'm like, okay,
so
you get points. Here. I'm like turning into Oprah seconds. You get points if I knew how to do that. You get points.
So what we're going to do, where is it? It should be, did somebody move my stuff? It was, there it is. Nope, that's not it. Dashboard. I'm not positive what happened. I'm going to multi-stream. Done. Let me go check this out. Okay, it was, thank you, Amber. So I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I said I have faith that Amber will remember your water. But I'm taking the full blame for that, because when I ordered my coffee, I said, "Craig wants, I think, water." I think he said he wants a water. And she says, I said, "I'm not sure."
Because they knew I was on it. I did start my diet like it was a New Year's. Technically, it was supposed to be a November into January, getting ready for a couple bowling tournaments. And then
you got to be in your best physical condition to bowl.
Considering I'll be bowling for like 10 days.
Okay, I can't change these streams while I'm live. Okay, so I'm going to go in here to Streamlabs. We have what's called a cloud bot. And that you can see in the chat when somebody says something. Mm-hmm. Streamlabs, the cloud bot, responds to them.
Okay.
So you can do exclamation point points. It'll tell you how many points you have. Or you can say gamble, and it will arbitrarily pick out a number. If it's lower than 50, you win. If it's higher than 50, excuse me, I'm wrong. If it's lower than 50, you lose. Whatever, like you say, gamble 5,000, and it was a 53, so he won.
Okay.
And rolled a 55, won. Chris Mays has 56 points. Gamble all 23, lost. So that's how it works. Now what we're going to do is click on loyalty and say add points to all the viewers. How much? Let's give them 100 points for tuning into this early one.
There we go.
Right? And so we'll minimize that now. Hayden Fortini in the chat. What's up, guys?
Hello.
So with this stream that we did prior to Thanksgiving was it started out as a 1-2, and I don't remember who did it. We announced it wrong. Like, I think I announced it as a 2-5, and maybe Min announced it as a 1-2 or whatever it was. It was announced wrong, so people came to the table expecting different things. So we said, how about a 1-2-5 no straddle? Because we don't want it to be a 1-2-5, 10, 20, 40, and all of a sudden these 1-2 players are going, come on, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I got 10 big when you do that. So we compromised and made the 1-2-5, no straddle, $1,000 max buy-in.
Yes.
And Nicky Boy bought him for $1,000, immediately lost it. Trip 8s versus Trip 8s to the guy in the 9 seat who immediately put a cage over his chips, and I don't think he played a hand after that. He
locked that down like it was Fort Knox.
Dude, he had lockdown poker going on. Nick 6, buys back in, and Sunrun just hits everything. And we played for the first 2 sessions. You can go back and watch it. When we come into this now, we are in probably the last 45 minutes to an hour of the actual stream, but it's going to be cropped down to 31 minutes just because we got rid of all the shuffling and stuff like that. So we're going to see Nick pulling in a pot, and he is up to $3,700, 40% of the chips in play. And so let's just go ahead, and I'm going to press play. And we're going to watch this stream.
I don't think I've ever sat down at the table and had somebody sit 4 hours straight.
Yeah,
It's going to be a fun stream to watch.
He says this is going to be a fun stream to watch, and the guy next to him says depends on who's watching. He says I've never sat down and had so many sets, flopping sets, over pairs. So that last hand, we just busted the lady in the 3 seat. They're trying to. I think Regis sat down just now, and so they did a small big type thing that you would do at a normal cash game, which we don't do at the feature table.
Right.
We just blind you out if you miss your blind, so it got a little bit confusing, but we're back on track now. Poor Nicky needs a color up.
Absolutely. But we've been saying that with Nick many times on the streams.
He is fun to watch. He always makes it interesting.
And with more moves than a game of checkers.
And it's Gerardo who now I say he was in lockdown poker and didn't play another hand. That's not fair. But he did fold more. He scared poker kind of is what I would have.
More like his in the early part, knowing obviously with Nick, who will give you action at the table, he opened up his range wider, and once Nick accumulated enough of chips, his range, I probably think, squeezed down to top 10 hands only.
Exactly, yeah. So he's raising with the king queen suited and high pocket pairs. Yeah. Katie explaining how the antenna works. I haven't seen Chris around. Now, this was 2 months ago. right before Thanksgiving. Captain Underpairs in the chat.
5 fold, 6 fold, 7.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know. Yesterday or Monday evening, he had a plethora of new.
Yep, Cup had a bunch of. He played in the 1-2 game Monday with his whiteboard. So Regis flops up best of it with 2 pair. Nick's got bottom pair and a king kicker. So Regis and Nick have a lot of history. I mean, they play in the 1-2 game, they play in the 2-5 game, they play in the 5-10 game.
And they play in the 2-5 game that's more like a 25-50 game.
Oh, man. They battle. They battle. So neither one of these two are afraid to put chips in play.
4 bets.
And Nick finally does let it go.
Well, only after a $200 bet.
You know what, though? You have to overbet. If
do.
you're Regis against Nick specifically, Regis knows Nick's going to call any reasonable bet, and I don't want him to hit whatever he's after. And here, we just miss the whole shuffling, and we're on to the next hand.
Absolutely.
3 raised to 4.
So this is hand 58 for the day.
6 fold. 7 fold, 8 fold.
The only problem with it being a recorded broadcast is I can't click on chip count or VPIP or any stats at all. I just have to have what it gives us.
True.
Gerardo with pocket sixes in the third blind. You don't see the 3B often.
No, far from it. And
5 fold.
Checks it over to Regis, who bets top pair, and it gets through.
Gerardo let's go the sixes quickly.
I'm going to spoil these guys. They'll, after watching this with no shuffling, just hand after hand after hand. It's like, what do they call that? Zoom poker or something back in the day?
Right. Well, pretty much it was that was the bulk of one of the early parts of
Online.
Of that, and honestly, World Poker Tour, because that was. Then that's how they found a way to make a 8-hour-long final table, and they trimmed it down to 2 hours for television.
Well, they cut out all the boring hands. Like these hands, I didn't cut out any hands. So you do get to see all of the action. If I wanted to, we could have made the 4-hour table into a half hour just by cutting out all the boring hands, because most of the hands are boring.
True. And Nick sneaks in the hijack with 2 pair.
King 4 offsuit, makes 2 pair, 126 in the pot. He makes it a little pot-sized bet.
And Big Brother's living going, wait a minute, I swore I had the best hand going into this.
Yeah.
And then he
rolls
over the 2 pair. Although it's funny, I think we could probably do an entire highlight reel of hands just to Nick.
Yeah, I mean, we really could. Actually, I think if I probably took out, let's say, 15 of the 60 hands didn't feature Nick.
6 raised to 30.
Those are the days of poker's fun.
Yeah.
When everything's going your way, you suck out when you're behind, you hold when you're ahead, you flop draws, people pay you off. Like, he's up against Regis. This hand specifically makes it 75. You don't call under the gun $75 with ace-9 offsuit. You just don't do that. Now, we can see that Chris also has an ace. Now, Chris is getting 2-1 on his money, so I don't hate his call as much. It's suited. Bing.
It's almost, and the thing is, Mr. Regis already knows. It's like, you can just see on his face, this guy got there again.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what he's saying. Little thought bubble. He got me again. Why is there always an ace on the flop?
And what they mean, they call kings ace magnets. So.
Yep, always. And Chris is like, I hit this ace, but how much do I believe that Nick has an ace? Because I can't believe Nick. He's betting all ranges. And Regis says, I don't believe either one of you. So, I'm going to call a little $85. Yeah. Just in case. A, maybe you guys are both bluffing. B, maybe I hit a king.
Right.
This is the pregame, Tammy.
And he says, that's right, he put in the raise.
Here's how much I don't
put
believe
in the
you.
raise.
Here's how much I don't believe you. I see you're 85, and let's make it 285. How's that sound?
200 more.
So, Nick, on an ace-9, which is basically top tier, no kicker, you don't call 200. Nick says, oh, yeah.
And he smooth called it. It's like just tossing 200.
I think he's also more afraid of Chris right behind him, who just called, and he's like, man, maybe my 9's no good. Let's see what happens. Blocker bet by Regis. Call from Nick.
And the funny part is, like, there was 225 pre-flop. Now there's over 1,500 in the spot.
Yeah. And Nick's not happy about it. He's just going, okay, I'm going to check call now.
Well, I think he said he did that before, considering the board texture, knowing that, okay, if Regis had made that play with ace-queen, if he made it with king-10, if he made it with pocket queens, then he figured he got there on the river. And for him to just roll over the ace-9 like it's good.
Yeah. I think he's thinking my hand is not strong enough to bet, but it's too strong to fold.
Right.
Especially with their dynamic.
7 fold, 8 fold. 9 call.
Cup says leave the boring hands in. I want to see what these guys are opening with. I agree. That's why I did it.
And case in point, as Nick gets ready to call with 7-5 offsuit.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Nick believes in all 52 cards. There are 52 cards in the deck, and I will play them all.
Yep. Big Brother, top pair.
4 check, 5 check.
Nobody's really excited about this.
6 check.
You know, he called with 8-10 offsuit in the hijack. It goes Texas heads up to the flop. 6 players.
That's a new one. Now Gerardo in position, this was smart with him because he'd been playing so tight since Nick went on this run.
He's playing his image now.
He's had a chance to now, with this board texture, take advantage of being able to
he can
rep the deuce. Or rep an overpair to the 10s.
Yeah, and Big Brother goes, well, never mind, and Gerardo picks one off.
Absolutely.
I know you can do. For real? I think so.
I know.
Oh, and he rolled it over.
Well, Nick goes, I know you've got a deuce. I don't know what happened here. There's just a little glitch for one hand.
Oh, okay.
Nick says, I know you've got the deuce, and he says, oh, really? And shows the bluff. I'm gonna go skip 30 seconds. Skip 30 seconds. There it is. All right. So I don't know what happened to my Camtasia. I didn't notice that earlier. So I'm just gonna skip that hand.
There we go.
Right now we are. Oh, we are. For another like 15, 20.
And we're actually not streaming. We're recording, and we'll broadcast it later.
Okay, sounds good.
4 raise, 40.
So we've got, what does that say? 18
18
minutes left.
18 minutes.
So we've got 18 minutes left of this on this recording. I'm super happy that Streamlabs started working again. It worked New Year's Eve. Quit working Sunday. Don't know what happened. I checked all the settings. Everything was good. I had Tiny in here Monday. He's a geek like me. Checked all the settings. Says everything looks good. All of a sudden started working yesterday. We didn't do anything. I think it's a Streamlabs thing. Like maybe they had something to do with the new year. Maybe they had to renew something or whatever. I don't know what happened, but it took them 48 hours to fix it, and now it's working. I would love to take credit for it, but I did nothing. It just started working on its own. Jeep with pocket threes. Jeep took a bad hit.
The king, earlier, for those that have had a chance to watch it.
It's the last hand of the first stream and the first hand of the second stream.
Between Jeep and Nick, Jeep had 2 kings, Nick had pocket 8s, and
9 high flop.
9 high flop, Jeep fires, and Nick binks the set against the flush draw. And then the board pairs, and Nick makes 8s full.
Yep.
And Jeep handed all of his money over to Nick.
Yep. He said, I just can't believe you, Nick. I mean, I wish I could believe you. I can't.
I bet 50.
Now Regis has middle pair, top kicker.
And Nick with the king high flush draw.
Checks it to Nick with the flush draw. Folds around. And like I said, Regis and Nick battle. They go back and forth. Then Nick, he's on a flush draw. He hits a king.
He hits top pair. Mr. Regis with the inside straight draw too, so that
Yep, he could get an ace, a 10, or a queen that's not a club.
And the one thing a lot of purists can appreciate about Mr. Regis is that he has no fear. He will keep firing, or he will keep calling if he thinks he's in a better spot.
So all the draws miss. Nick does have the best hand with top pair, and he picks up a $600 pot. Yeah, he says, I had the flush draw and got there. Are you just going to top off?
I still say it, and I'm not sure if a lot of our viewers can remember this. It's still, I think, if we had a top 10, it was the 3-way hand Nick had, where Nick has ace 10 of hearts, other player has aces.
It was
and the third
Poker
player,
Kenneth.
Poker Kenneth had aces, and then Rick had 98 of clubs, makes the huge re-raise. Nick smooth calls it.
Yep.
Other player with the ace, Poker Kenneth,
Yep.
he calls it. And the board gives Nick a pair and the nut flush draw. They get it all in on the side.
Yeah.
Nick turns trips and then makes the nut flush on the river.
He didn't even need the heart.
He didn't even need the heart.
Yeah, I think he broke Kenneth's soul that day.
You're looking at this going like, does this guy just have can he just read the deck's mind or something? It's like, I need these cards.
He's got a good read on the deck. Here's Chris now. Regis top pair against another flush draw. So Regis checks over top pair. Chris leads out for 50. A little half pot bet. I love the bet.
Like I say, it's the milk play. But Mr. Regis does not believe in just trying to milk him.
He likes the check raise more than his stereotype would let you believe. If I just sat down and I had no prior experience, my stereotype would be this old guy is going to buy in for $300 and drink his coffee for the next 5 hours and wait for aces or kings. And then I would not be further from the truth.
He has the poker soul of a 24-year-old, 42-table internet guy.
Man, he multi-tables.
And he's multi-table, high limit, but Chris says, okay, Mr. Regis, we're going for it all now. And I think it, but also in the same sense for those that have had a chance to see all the parts, for Chris's demeanor and the way that he played the table very cautiously.
Yeah, I wish I had access to the VPIP right now so I could show you guys, but I don't. But we've been watching for a half hour, so I'm going to go back and after this hand, remind me to give people points. I'm going to jump it up and give you 200 points. Nick's in the chat.
Oh, snap!
He locked up like a savings and loan after taking that pot from me with a better kicker. We both had trip 9s. I bought him for a K, lost most of it to Gerard, and he outkicked me. Yep.
And then you proceeded to basically treat everyone stacked like an ATM.
Crushed it. I'm pretty sure Nick's was somewhere around 92% VPIP.
and that's with, what, an 8% margin of error?
Yeah. So if you are new to the chat, exclamation point and the word points with no spaces will tell you how many points you have. And then you can gamble them against the Streamlabs bot, or you can duel against another viewer if you want to. Back to the action. Nobody has anything. Jeep at 27% equity with bottom pair. Whoever has the heart, which is going to be Big Brother in this situation, is going to bet $20 and just win the hand. And Big Brother says that's how poker is supposed to work.
You make a bet in a multi-way pot.
Everybody folds.
And everyone folds.
Oh, dang it. We lost another hand. Bink, bink. Just skip these few seconds. There we go.
As you can see, it's Nick and then everyone else.
Yeah.
Like golf was with Tiger in the 2000s.
Right. Question in the chat. Asian Poker King, Pokering? Asian Pokering says, is this a replay? This is a replay. This was prior to Thanksgiving. We recorded a few cash games. I think 2 or 3 cash games, about 4 hours apiece, just to have in the can to test on. And one of the players asked if we could broadcast it, and we have time today, so we're doing it. We're down to 33 players in the background tournament.
Also, for I know that Nick's watching at least, and also for his wife Heather, we do promise this is Nick being Nick, winning money. So don't and this is a constant. He is a very amazing player. Don't let anybody fool you. Don't let the craziness about Nick. He has a method to his madness. That's what makes him good with this. As this is a 7-way pot, and wow. Mike with the flop, that's flopped the nuts. After Nick let out and 2 callers.
Well, Nick's got top pair. Regis has bottom pair. Chris has a gut shot. Big Brother has a gut shot.
And Mike just has the nuts.
Yep. And I think he's probably new to the table. I don't remember.
He had just sat in that last hour.
All right.
And
dang it. All right. I'm not positive what happened when I was Camtasia streaming this stuff.
That's so weird.
But yeah, we're so just a few of the videos probably didn't render properly. So yeah, Scott in the booth says definitely good enough action for a revisit. I agree, and I apologize to Nick that it took me 2 months to get to it.
But it's we're sorry about that, Nick. But the only thing is but Nick has about 472 other highlight hands.
Yeah. He's played a little bit since then. But it's always fun to watch the sun run. Bobby, we haven't seen a whole lot in this last half hour.
I think it was one of the few times I think Bobby decided to play sit in, because Bobby is an amazing tournament player. In fact, I think at one point in time, he out of the 7 possible days that we had tournaments in 1 week, he had made 4 the final table for 4 of them. So
nice. How recently was this?
This was last month.
Oh wow, that's so when the tournaments were big and mattered.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. He's got top pair, open ender. Oh, they're explaining to Regis what the button tip is. He thought it was a button straddle, and they were like, no, that's when everybody puts $1 on as they're the button, and once the player in the button wins the hand, the dealer gets that. It's just a fun game for the dealers, a tipping. We're getting close to the end, so people are loosening up a little bit. Gerard coming in with a king-queen offsuit under the gun. Jeep making it a 3-bet with Jack-10. Regis calling with Queen-9.
And Nick with a Ace-3 of diamonds.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's a real hand to him.
But he's in position, so obviously that's one of those reasons why I think he made that. He made that call. It's like, oh, if I'm in position, I've got an ace. We're going to go with it. But I can attest to you, and Eric, you can hit that. This was a 1-2-5, and I know that
it was impromptu. We didn't even plan it. We just said, "Hey, anybody want to play on the stream?" That's why it,
and the table filled. And it has led to I know between you and a few others, I know Texas Kimla and Hayden have created. I like to call it this, like between Thursday and Friday. Those are like, forget nosebleed. That is Maniac into the stratosphere games.
It's So the Thursday game especially is a match to stack PLO game. Last Thursday, we had 9 players sit down with $2,000 max buy-in, and it's match to stack. There was a 3-way all in the first hand, and all of the players except for Daryl, who didn't realize what was happening, topped off to 6K. So we went from 18,000 on the table to 54,000 on the table, minus Daryl, who's like, what just happened?
In a 1-3-6 game.
It was a 1-3-6-12-60.
So for those that think that, and no, this was not just one of those special games.
We're going to do it again tomorrow.
They're going to do it again. So I know that for those that think that this was, but no, they'll do this every week, and then the next night
is the same thing.
5-5-10.
Hold them instead of PLO.
But 25,000 max buy-in.
No. It was still 2,000 max buy-in. Actually, I think it might have been 3,000.
3,000,
but it was match stack. So as soon as 3 people go all in, now one guy's got 9K, and then people reach into their bag, and now everybody's got 9K. It's a juicy game.
I can only admit, there had to be close to almost 100,000 on the table.
I think we did the math, and it was like 85.
85,000 on a 5-5-10 game.
5-5, yeah, and it was a fun game.
Ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't tell you if you are looking for action.
Welcome to Dallas.
Welcome to Texas. Welcome to Dallas
Texas poker.
And to the, as I said, and it matches. Honestly, I think to say our.
So chip counts here real quick. Nick pushing $4,700. That was the last hand. We didn't chat a lot about the last couple of hands. There wasn't a lot of action, but that was super fun. Let's pop back on that camera. So Nick, sorry it took us 6-7 weeks to get there. Nick just said some things are worth the wait.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it was super fun. And that 4-hour stream, you can go back and watch the other ones. They're on YouTube. We did one right away when I got back, early December.
We did. I did one.
Did you broadcast it or did you save it?
I broadcast the second one. But it had all, I broadcast the second hour. It had everything. It had all the unfortunately I didn't cut everything out. So.
Okay. Or did you do the first hour and I did the second hour?
You did the first hour. I did the second hour. So this was the last one.
I did the second hour with Nick from Next Gen.
Really?
Yep. I'll have to go look and see.
Well, either way,
Well,
Nick,
look, there's a lot of content.
There's a lot of content.
So we are down to 32 players. Hey, you guys want to see something? I'm going to do this. Just because you're here. All right, first of all, I'm going to give you guys all 300 points because you stuck around. 300.
Woohoo!
Okay. Minimize that. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to grab our server. I'm going to, we can exit out of here. Let's exit full screen. Let's get rid of that screen. They can see everything we do on this monitor. I'm going to turn the output to live so you can see what's going on right now. All right, and then I'm going to change it. Let's look at that view.
Hello.
Okay, I got to turn off the cycle so it's static. Let's look at that view again. This is what 150 people in a poker room look like. Let's look at that view.
Wow.
Right on. So we have 17 tables running, including the high stakes room. Mm-hmm. And I snapped a picture of the entire full room earlier. We had 179 entries and 32 remain. So we're down to the final 4 tables. Let's see some people here that we recognize.
So I know you got Esteban.
Yep. Right next to him we got Brandon.
I know there's Martin in this on the 8th seat on I guess that's table 13. Let's see. Got Danny, the 6th seat on 12. Marvin.
All right, I'm gonna cycle these back and forth for you.
Yeah. Let's see, we got Miss Carol there in the 8th seat sitting next to Frank. You got Cruz. Cruz that I think Cruz had he got a tournament win before we changed over the New Year's.
Yeah. Did he
I think it
final table on New Year's Eve? I recognize him from somewhere recently. We stream 7 nights a week. 8 if you include right now. 9 if you include tomorrow. We got a double header tomorrow. I didn't even tell you that.
Uh-oh.
All right, so if you follow us on YouTube, you'll see that a couple days ahead of time, I put out a thumbnail and a little announcement. Tune into this one. Tomorrow, remember that big crazy PLO game we've got? That's from 6 to 10.
It's back.
We'll be shutting that down about 10 o'clock, right about the time the $200 Christmas Classic will be almost at the final table. So 10:30, quarter to 11, we'll be streaming the final table. So we're going doubleheader tomorrow. It'll be a long day of poker, just for you guys. So it'll be super fun. Check that out, guys. Check out all those.
So to those doubters that are quite an idea on whether or not you want to come down, you're not sure on whether or not we have action. We have action here at Poker House Dallas. We got action. We have action 7 days a week. If anything, I like to think Eric and his tutelage has been able to, and in regards with a few players, have been able to create 2 nights of absolute mad, crazy live stream between a 136, and you probably just heard him say it was a 136 PLO that had $90,000 on the table.
Blinds are largely irrelevant in that game.
It is purely just to say 136. Yeah. I would probably say it's more of a 30-60.
They call it H-Town poker because a lot of these people started out in Houston, and that's where they do the standard PLO raising. Mm-hmm. In this game, pre-flop, instead of betting the pot, you can go 5x. So when it's 136, you can open to 30. If it's 1, 3, 6, straddle to 12, you can open to 60.
Wow.
So that's why I said it became a 1, 3, 6, 12, 60.
That
And
makes
actually,
sense.
I think it was like a 1, 3, 6, 12 blind raise to 50. Just to make the math easier for him, it was 1, 3, 6, 12, 50.
And then you could make it 250 to go.
It was crazy. It was a lot of fun. Tune in tomorrow.
Oh yeah, we got to mention that Captain Up's here. The Chat Pro meetup game.
Sunday. Everybody's invited. All of you guys who are in the chat watching this stuff that make it. If you weren't here, we wouldn't do it. So for you, a bunch of these guys said, let's get together and play a meetup game, the mug. If you didn't know, somebody thought it was we were going to have coffee mugs. I said, lots of coffee.
Or mug root beer,
Bring your
depending
coffee.
on that. Mug, if you
Right.
want to be a sponsor, let us know.
So Sunday at noon, a 1-2 game. Nothing. Just show up and play if you want to play. Eric did the first hour. Craig did the first hour. Eric and Nick did the second hour, and we both closed it out.
Hey,
All right, boom.
well, Nick would know. This is pretty much one of his
He watched it. It was.
It's one of his highlight reels. He has so many of them.
It was a good one. It was a good one for Nick. It was a good one. I'm glad he reminded me. I'm glad he called me this morning and reminded me that we had it sitting out there because I'd forgotten. But we got it in there, and we got about 42 minutes stream. We're down to the final 3 tables. You're going to see them busting a table pretty quickly here. We're down to 29 players, so we'll lose 2 more and get down to 3 tables. And it'll probably take over or under 11 o'clock. That's a good line.
Ooh, that is a good line. Let's see, 29
Hour and 20 minutes
Hour 20
to
minutes.
lose 19 players,
You know what?
20 players.
With what the average shift count is against knowing against like we're at 366, which means
There's 3.5 million in play.
and that means the average player has about 20 bigs. I think maybe just barely it'll start before 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock.
It'll start before 11.
So we're planning on it. They are emphasizing the details, Poker Monkey and Captain Underpairs. Sunday, noon. 500 max buy-in if you want to play 1-2. We're going to be having beverages. We're going to be having Irish whiskey cake.
That's a mouthful.
Yes. I had to say it slowly, but I like all of those words.
You like all the,
You know what else is new? All right, the guy right here in the bottom, I'm trying to point it to you. Anyway, Iliad, I call him Eli because it's easier to say for my Minnesota vocabulary. See the guy right there in the bottom of the screen right there? I'm trying to make it look like I'm doing it. But anyway, he speaks fluent Spanish, obviously. And he said...
Rodrigo. El Rezo.
You know what he's going to do?
He's gonna soundcast it in Spanish.
Exactly.
Oh,
So I've been recording these without commentary, so I can give him like we just did right now. He can play that, and for all of our Spanish speaking fans, and I think it's fabulous. I got the okay today. And Danielle says, I love that idea, so we're going to go with it. Tammy, when are you getting in? Tammy's coming in. Nobody let me dance on the table, please. I can't make that kind of promise. I can't do it. So that's it, guys. 45 minutes. You guys stuck around. Dozen people in the chat still. So we're going to go add points to... All right, don't tell Eddie I'm giving you all 500 points. All right, shh. Eddie gives away so many points. All right, guys, have fun. We'll see you in a couple hours. We'll see you in an hour and 17 minutes. I'm calling it.
There you go.
All right, good luck. We'll see ya.